Good evening and welcome to Mid-Valley Bible Church's virtual prayer meeting for Wednesday, February 17th, 2021. My name is Doug Hornock and I'm the pastor at Mid-Valley Bible. I've always been fascinated by our nation's leaders and enjoy reading stories about our president. Now, admittedly, I enjoy reading some of their stories more than others, especially those whose policies I agree with. And one of the presidents that I dearly love was Ronald Reagan, our 40th president. Connie and I have been to his presidential museum twice and hope to visit there again. I've read a number of books about Ronald Reagan, and one of the best that was ever written was written by Peggy Noonan. She served as special assistant and primary speechwriter for President Reagan. And in her book, When Character Was King, she tells a wonderful story about the president, how a woman named Frances Greene, who lived all by herself on the outskirts of San Francisco, for 8 long years had sent to the Republican National Committee a gift of $1 a month. Now, admittedly, that's not a lot of money, but for this 83-year-old woman who was all by herself, living on a fixed income, it was a great sacrifice. One day, she received a fundraising letter from the RNC, mailed in a beautiful, thick, cream-colored envelope with black and gold lettering, inviting her to the White House to meet the president. Well, she was thrilled, and she thought she was being invited for her faithfully giving $1 a month to support the president's party. And in her excitement, she failed to notice the RSVP that suggested, more importantly required, that there not only be a positive reply, but also a generous donation. Not noticing that, she scraped together every cent she had, and it took her 4 days by train to ride across this nation to see the president. She couldn't afford a sleeper car, so she slept in coach, eating her packed meals as the train made its way across the U.S. When she got to D.C., she went to the White House at the appointed time and went to the gate, where the guard frowned, glanced over the official guest list, and told her that her name wasn't there and that she couldn't go in. She was understandably heartbroken, and it just so happened that a Ford Motor Company executive was standing behind Frances, and he saw the whole story unfold before his eyes. Realizing there was something wrong, he pulled Frances aside and asked her to return to the White House the next morning at 9 o'clock, and he would meet her there. She agreed, and in the meantime, he had made contact with Annie Higgins, a presidential aide, who got clearance for her to be given a tour the following day and be introduced to the president. Well, when the president heard about what had happened, he eagerly agreed to the plan. The next day came, but it was anything but calm at the White House. Ed Meese had just resigned. There had been a military uprising abroad that required the president's attention. Reagan was in and out of high-level meetings, but Frances Greene showed up at 9 o'clock, full of expectations, excitement, and enthusiasm. The executive met her, gave her a wonderful tour of the White House, and then quietly led her by the Oval Office, thinking maybe she might get a quick glimpse of the president. Members of the National Security Council were going in and out. High-ranking officials were coming and going. And in the midst of it all, President Reagan glanced out of the Oval Office, saw Frances Greene standing in the hallway, and with a smile, he gestured her to come into his office. When she entered, the president got up from his chair, moved out from behind his desk, and called out, "Frances, those darn computers, they fouled up again. If I'd have known you were coming, I would have come out there to get you myself." And he then invited her to sit down. And the two talked leisurely about California, her town, her life, and her family. And Ronald Reagan, President of the United States, gave her a lot of time that day, more time than he had. And while some would say that that was wasted, Peggy Noonan in her books write, those who say that didn't know Ronald Reagan. Reagan knew that this 83-year-old woman had nothing to give him, but she needed something Ronald Reagan could give. And that greeting by the world's most powerful man impacted her life, his life, and the lives of those around them. Now, I share that story in the hope that when we see people, we will greet them, not for what they can give us, but for what we can give them. And that we'll communicate to them that they're important, that we love them, that we want to help them, and make them feel comfortable. Hopefully, very soon, we as a church family are going to be able to be all back together again. And we're going to greet one another. We're going to have visitors who come through our doors. And when we do, let's make sure we follow Paul's instruction in Romans 16 of greeting one another warmly. Those kinds of greetings are rare, but they're also greetings that are desperately needed. And so with that before us tonight, let's now go to prayer.